And welcome back here in Anchorage, starting game two of our doubleheader between us and the Anchorage Glacier Pilots. First pitch to Mason Mallard in there for a called strike one. Now we'll be batting leadoff for this game. After him, it'll be Will Bass and Hunter Vansaw. The 0-1. Lined out towards right field. Joe Gillette going over. He'll make the grab for out number one here in the top of the first. That brings Will Bass up to the plate, one down, top of the first. On the hill for the Pilots, Christian Martinic, the pitcher from Oregon State. First pitch to Will Bass. Chopped on the ground towards first. Christian Meyer will take it himself. Goes over to the bag for out number two. Two down, top of the first inning. Hunter Vansaw coming up to the plate. Vansaw went 1 for 3 in game number one. First pitch to Vansaw. In there for a called strike one. Here's the 0-1. Swing and miss from Vansaw. He falls behind 0-2. Two down here in the top of the first between the Chinooks and the Glacier Pilots. Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss from Vansaw. It gets away from Walters. He'll throw it down to first to complete the strikeout. So that'll do it for the top of the first. Chinooks go down 1-2-3. Home half of the first for the Pilots coming up here from Anchorage. Welcome back on out here to Mulcahy Stadium, getting set to start at the bottom of the first inning between the Chinooks and the Pilots. First pitch to Kyle Watson, lays down the bunt down the first base line. Bonsell will get to it, tries to glove flip it, but unable to do so. So Watson is on at first with a bunt single. That brings Deshaun Kiersey up to the plate. Kiersey, the center fielder, went 1 for 3 in game one. Kiersey up to the plate, nobody down, bottom of the first inning. First pitch to Kiersey, tries to lay down his own bunt. He'll pull that back, that's ball one. Watson over first has 19 stolen bases, by far the most in the ABL. Has been caught 4 times. One of those times was in game 1. He's on the move here, but it's a hit and run as that'll get into right field for a base hit. Watson's going to get all the way to second, and Kiersey advances to second on the throw. So that'll put runners at second and third with nobody down for Nate Eichhoff. So Eichhoff comes to the plate with nobody down. Bottom of the first inning. No score on the board, but the Pilots already have a couple base runners in scoring position. On the mound for the Chinooks is Nate Bonsell, the Masters college commit. First pitch to Eichhoff. Up and away, ball 1. Eichhoff went 2 for 4 in game number 1. The 1-0. Launched over towards second. Gets past Will Bass. That'll bring in a run. They'll check on Kiersey. They get him back over to third as he was thinking about coming around. So 1 run will come across the score for the Pilots on an RBI single from Eichhoff. So Pilots take the 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the first. Joe Gillette now up to the plate for the Pilots. Still nobody down. Defensively for the Chinooks, same outfield as game 1. Mason Mallard in left, Zach Sanford in center, Hunter Vansaw is in right. Runners at the corners now for the Pilots. First pitch to Joe Gillette. Misses low. Eichhoff will advance to second. So runners now at second and third for Joe Gillette, the outfielder from Oregon State. In the infield for the Chinooks this game, Tim Millard at third, Isaac Alvarez at short. The 1-0 in there for a call to strike 1 to Gillette, evens up the count at 1-1. Will Bass is at second base with Ethan Whisker at first. Ben Hill doing the catching for this game. 1-1 count to Joe Gillette, runners at second and third. The 1-1. Swing and a miss. 1-2 the count to Gillette. Gillette went 1 for 2 in game number 1. The 1-2. Outside ball 2, evens up at 2-2. Gillette hitting just under 300 this summer. He faces a 2-2 count from Nate Bonsell. The 2-2. Breaks his bat. That's grounded towards short. Alvarez will field it. And Whisker unable to field the scoop in time. So not only is Gillette safe at first, but a run will come in to score as Deshaun Kiersey scores from third, makes it 2-0. Pilots on top. So the Pilots have a 2-0 advantage. Still nobody down here in the bottom of the first. And things just haven't been going the way of the Chinooks in the last couple days. Really dates even back farther than that. After the series of off days we had, some caused by rain, some were planned. So that brings Tyler Walters, the Pilots catcher, up to the plate. First pitch to him. Foul tips that one back for strike 1. Walters didn't play in game 1, but he went 0 for 4 in yesterday's game. The 0-1 popped out right side. Bass going over in foul ground. He'll make the grab. That's out number 1 as he throws it into Ben Hill by the plate. That'll bring Jack Gerstenmaier up to the plate. Runners at the corners, 1 down. Bottom of the first inning, Pilots up 2-0. Gerstenmaier, the Pilots' first baseman, went 1 for 2 in game 1 of the doubleheader. Bonsell will check over at first on Joe Gillette. He'll be back in time. Gillette has been known to swipe a base or two, has 11 steals. That's tied for second on the team. First pitch to Gerstenmaier. Shows bunt, pulls it back. That's ball 1. Gerstenmaier, the sophomore from the University of Virginia. Bonsell again will check on Gillette. He gets back in plenty of time. Some numbers on Bonsell. This is his 8th start of the summer. Just over 37 innings pitched, 26 strikeouts to 8 walks, a 4.82 ERA. The 1-0. Outside, ball 2. Count 2-0 to Jack Gerstenmaier. Gerstenmaier, the plate runners at the corners for the Pilots. The 2-0. In there called strike 1. Gerstenmaier still up in the count, 2-1. The 2-1. Thinks about it. They'll say he did go around for strike 2. Count evened up to 2 balls, 2 strikes. 1 down, bottom of the first. Chinooks trailing the Pilots 2-0. Here's the 2-2. Comes inside. That'll actually plunk Gerstenmaier, so he'll go down to first. So that'll load up the bases with 1 down for Isaac Feldstein. He'll be the DH for this contest. He came in to pinch hit for Nick Orr in game number 1. He got himself on with an RBI single. First pitch to Feldstein. Swing and a miss for strike 1. Nate Eichhoff at third, Joe Gillette at second with Jack Gerstenmaier at first for the Pilots. Still only 1 down. Here's the 0-1. And that's hit out towards center field. That's going to drop in for a base hit. Eichhoff is going to score easily, as will Gillette, but they will split the runners. So they'll keep runners at first and third, but 2 runs will score on the single from Feldstein, puts the Pilots up 4-0. So runners at the corners with 1 down. Duke Kinnaman up to the plate. Kinnaman went 1 for 3 in game 1. First pitch to Kinnaman. Just inside, ball one. Kinnaman, the freshman from Stanford. He's originally from Peachtree, Georgia. The 1-0. Down and in, ball two. 2-0 to Duke Kinnaman. Gerstenmeyer at third, Feldstein at first for the Pilots. They have a 4-0 advantage in the bottom of the first. The 2-0 in there on the outer half for a called strike one. Two and one, the count to Kinnaman. Here's the 2-1. Upstairs, ball three. Makes the count 3-1. Still just one down here in the bottom of the first. The 3-1. Hit hard on the ground towards third, but that'll go foul. Makes it a full count, 3-2 to Duke Kinnaman. The 3-2. Up and away, ball four. So that'll load up the bases once again, this time for Dalton Hurd. And now pitching coach Chris Beck going to go have a word with Nate Bonsell as well as the rest of the infield. And this has already been an inning to forget for the Chinooks as they've allowed 4 runs to score, in danger of allowing more as the bases are loaded with just one down. And we're ready to resume action here in the bottom of the first. Again, bases loaded for the Pilots. Pilots on top by a score of 4-0. And Dalton Hurd's up to the plate. First pitch to him taken for a called strike one. Hurd hasn't played neither of the first 2 games between the Chinooks and the Pilots this series, but has a chance to do some damage right now with the bases loaded. The 0-1. Down and outside, ball one. When the count to Dalton Hurd, the 5'9" sophomore from Seattle University. The 1-1. Hits it out towards right field. That one's going to drop down in the gap for a base hit. Gerstenmeyer is going to score easily. So does Feldstein. They're going to try and go to third and get out Hurd, but he will be in there. Bases clearing triple. That makes it 7-0 here in the bottom of the first. So Hurd makes up for the fact that he hasn't played in a couple games with a triple that scores 3. We're back to the top of the order for Kyle Watson. First pitch to him, he'll swing in and miss for strike one. So Watson up to the plate for the second time this inning. He led off the inning with a bunt hit single. The 0-1's going to miss down and in for ball one. 1-1 the count to Kyle Watson. The 1-1. Lines that back foul. 1-2 the count to Kyle Watson. Dalton Hurd, the runner at third. The 1-2. Fouls that one back. Count remains 1-2, still just one down. Bottom of the first inning, the Pilots have already batted around as Kyle Watson's up for the second time. The 1-2. That one's lofted up, shallow part of the infield. Isaac Alvarez will make the grab for out number 2. That brings up Deshaun Kiersey for the second time this inning. He got himself on with a single his first time up. First pitch to Kiersey. In there, called strike one. On the count to Kiersey. Here's the 0-1. Catches the outside corner. Called strike two. Kiersey down in the count 0-2. Here's the 0-2. Kiersey fouls that one back to stay alive. Oh, 0-2 the count to Deshaun Kiersey, the outfielder from the University of Utah. The 0-2. Just outside, ball one. 1-2 the count to Kiersey. 2 down, bottom of the first. Here's the 1-2. Down and outside, Hill keeps that one in front of him. Count even at 2-2. Here's the 2-2. And that's hit past a diving Will Bass. That'll be an RBI single for Kiersey, as that brings in Dalton Hurd. 8-0, your score in the bottom of the first. That brings up Nate Eichhoff for the second time. First pitch to him. Hit on the ground. That'll get into right field for a base hit. Puts runners at first and second. 2 down. That'll bring up Joe Gillette. So Joe Gillette up to the plate. Runners at first and second. 2 down. And now that will do it for Nate Bonsell. So we're going to have a new pitcher coming in for the Chinooks. No other way to put it other than a disaster of a first inning so far, as they've given up 8 runs. We'll have a new pitcher coming in just a moment. And welcome back. We're still in the bottom of the first here at Mulcahy Stadium. 2 down, runners at first and second. New pitcher on the hill for the Chinooks, Alex Masato. Played at Tyler Junior College this past season. He'll be facing Joe Gillette. First pitch to Gillette in there, called strike one. Gillette reached on an error his first time up this inning. The 0-1 lined out towards right field. That's going to get out of play. So Gillette down in the count 0-2. Some more numbers on Alex Masato. 8th appearance, 14 innings pitched, a 5.14 ERA, has a 2-0 record in the win-loss column. And he's looking to sit down Joe Gillette to finish this inning. Here's the 0-2. Outside, ball one. 1-2 the count to Gillette. Here's the 1-2. Down into the turf for ball two. Kiersey at second. Eichhoff at first for the Pilots. They're up 8-0 here in the bottom of the first. Here's the 2-2. That one's fouled back out of play. We'll do it again at 2-2. Two balls, two strikes, the count to Joe Gillette. The 2-2. Swing and a miss. And that inning is finally over. 8 runs on 7 hits for the Pilots. They take an 8-0 lead as we enter the top of the second here in Anchorage. And back we are to start at the top of the second inning here in Anchorage. First inning, one to forget for the Chinooks, to say the least, as they allowed the Pilots to put 8 runs on the board. First pitch to Tim Millard in there, called strike one. After Millard, it'd be Aaron Shackelford and Ethan Whisker coming to the plate. The 0-1. Outside, ball one. 1-1 the count to Tim Millard, getting a start at third base for game number 2 of the doubleheader. The 1-1's going to miss just down and outside, ball 2. Millard went 2 for 3 in game number 1, was our player of the game. The 2-1. In there called strike 2. 2-2 the count to Tim Millard. The 2-2. Inside, ball 3. That'll make it a full count, 3-2 to Tim Millard, the redshirt sophomore from Dallas Baptist. The 3-2. Inside, ball 4. So the Chinooks get their first base runner of this game in the form of Tim Millard drawing a walk. I'm going to bring Aaron Shackelford up to the plate. He's the DH for this game. First pitch to him. Just outside, ball 1. Shack was also 2 for 3 in game number 1. The 1-0. Just a tad high, ball 2. Two and 0 the count to Shackelford. Plays his ball at the Masters College. The 2-0 is going to miss down and away, ball 3. And now head coach Darren Wester are going to come have a chat on the mound with Martinic. I got to wonder how much that long inning affected him, took him out of his rhythm. And thank you for joining us here on the Chinook Radio Network. Chinooks have a runner at first in Tim Millard. Aaron Shackelford up to the plate with a 3-0 count. But this game number 2 of the doubleheader has been one to forget already, as the Chinooks are down 8-0. And now we're ready to resume action. It's a 3-0 count to Aaron Shackelford with nobody down in the top of the second. The 3-0. Just a tad high, ball 4. So 2 straight walks drawn up by the Chinooks. That brings Ethan Whisker up to the plate. Nobody down, runners at first and second. First pitch to Whisker. Just inside, ball 1. Whisker went 1 for 3 in game 1 of the doubleheader. The 1-0. Down low, ball 2. Here's the 2-0. That one's launched out towards center field. Sean Kersey's going to make the catch as Tim Millard's going to tag up from second. He'll be in there at third. So Whisker flies up, but that puts runners at the corners for Isaac Alvarez. So Alvarez up to the plate. 1 down, top of the second, and runners at the corners. Tim Millard at third, Aaron Shackelford at first. First pitch to Alvarez. In there on the inner half of the plate for a called strike 1. Alvarez went 0 for 2 in game 1, came in as a defensive replacement about midway through the game. Swing and a miss as he'll fall behind 0-2. Here's the 0-2. Fouls that one back. Stays alive at 0-2. On to the count to Isaac Alvarez, the sophomore from Chandler Gilbert Community College. Here's the 0-2. Fouls that one off down the first base line. Count remains 0-2 to Alvarez. The 0-2. Again, he'll foul that one off. Here's the 0-2. Shackelford on the move. They will concede the bag to him as that's ball one to Isaac Alvarez. One and two, the count. Runners at second and third with one down. Here's the 1-2. That one's poked over towards second. We'll flip it over to first just in time to sit down Alvarez, but Millard will come in to score. So the Chinooks will put one on the board as they're still down by a score now of 8-1. Two down now for Ben Hill. First pitch to him is down and in, ball one. Shackelford, the runner at third for the Chinooks. The 1-0. That's lined into right field. That'll get down for a base hit. That'll bring in Shackelford to score. Makes it 8-2. Chinooks still trail. Brings up Zach Sanford, two down. Top of the second inning. Chinooks trail 8-2. And they're going to call a balk pretty early on, Martinic. So that'll advance Hill over to second, and they weren't even going to check on Hill. Here's the first pitch to Sanford. In there called strike one. Sanford went 0 for 3 in game one of the doubleheader. Here's the 0-1. Misses low, ball one. 1-1 the count to Zach Sanford, getting the start in center field. Here's the 1-1. Swing and a miss. He'll fall behind 1-2. One to the count to Zach Sanford, the outfielder from Glenville State. The 1-2. Swing and a miss. And Sanford will go down swinging. So that'll do it for the top of the second, but not before the Chinooks add on a couple runs. They now trail by a score of 8-2 as we enter the bottom of the second. Backyard to start the bottom of the second inning here at Mulcahy Stadium. Tyler Walters will lead things off. Here's the first pitch to Tyler Walters. So we're going to miss for strike one. After Walters, to be Jack Gerstenmeyer and Isaac Feldstein coming to the plate for the Pilots. Here's the 0-1. Another swing and a miss from Walters. Will fall behind 0-2. Walters flew out to second his first time up today. The 0-2. Just barely fouls that back, stays alive at 0-2. Chinooks down by a score of 8-2, but they were able to put a couple runs on the board in their half of the second. Here's the 0-2. Down and outside into the turf for ball one. One into the count to Tyler Walters, a sophomore from Slippery Rock University. The 1-2. Down into the turf for ball two. The 2-2 launched up towards shallow left field. It'll be Mason Mallard going over there to make the grab for out number one. That brings Jack Gerstenmeyer up to the plate. One down, bottom of the second. Chinooks trailing 8-2. Gerstenmeyer was hit by a pitch his first time up. First pitch to him. Fouls that one back and out of play. Gerstenmeyer hitting .227 with 3 doubles and a triple. Here's the 0-1. Popped up towards center field. And it'll be Zach Sanford getting under that one for out number two. That'll bring Isaac Feldstein up to the plate, 2 down, bottom of the second. Chinooks trailing by a score of 8-2 to the Glacier Pilots. First pitch to Feldstein, we fouled back and out of play. Feldstein had a 2 RBI single his first time up. Here's the 0-1. That's lofted out towards left field. But Mason Mallard will be able to get under it for the final out of the bottom of the second. A much needed 1-2-3 inning for the Chinook defense. And after 2 innings of play, Chinooks down by a score of 8-2 to the Pilots. Welcome back here to Anchorage, Alaska, as we're starting the top of the third between the Chinooks and the Pilots. First pitch to Mason Mallard. Will miss low, ball one. After Mallard, it'll be Will Bass and Hunter Vansaw coming to the plate. The 1-0. That'll come in and plunk him. So Mallard will go to first after being hit by the pitch. That brings Will Bass up to the plate as we'll see if Mallard can shake that off. And he will. So Will Bass up to the plate. Nobody down here in the top of the third. First pitch to Bass. Mallard on the move. That's taken for strike one. And Mallard will be called safe over at second. Now time will be called. A 1-1 count to Will Bass. Here's the 0-1. Little high, ball one. Bass grounded out to first, his first time up in this game. The 1-1. Hit hard on the ground towards first once again. Gerstenmeyer will take it over to the bag himself for the out. So Mallard will advance to third on the ground out by Bass. Brings up Hunter Vansaw. First pitch to Vansaw. Down and outside, ball one. Vansaw struck out swinging his first time up in this one. The 1-0. Down and outside once again for ball two. Vansaw hitting .327, good for tops on the team in average. The 2-1's going to miss once again for ball three. Three and 0 count to Vansaw with Mallard over at third. The 3-0. And that'll miss down and away at ball four. Third walk drawn by the Chinooks in this contest brings up Tim Millard. So Tim Millard's up to the plate. Runners at the corners, one down. Top of the third, Chinooks trail 8-2. Here's the first pitch to Millard. Down and in, ball one. Millard drew a walk, came around to score back in the second. The 1-0. That one's fouled off towards the first base side. One and one the count to Tim Millard. As Kyle Watson and Christian Martinek had a quick chat. Mallard, the runner at third. Vansaw, the runner at first. Here's the 1-1. And they're called strike two. 1-2 the count to Tim Millard. The 1-2. That one's launched out towards shallow left center field. Kiersey will make the grab for out number two, and Mallard won't be able to tag up from third either. Two down, top of the third. Chinooks down 8-2. That'll bring up Aaron Shackelford to the plate. First pitch to Shack. Inside, called strike one. Shack, like Millard, also drew a walk and came around to score back in the second. The 0-1. That one's fouled back. Shackelford down on the count, 0-2. Here's the 0-2. That's chopped back towards Martinic on the mound. And he'll get it over to first in time for out number 3. So that'll do it for the top of the third. Chinooks leave a couple stranded. They still trail by a score of 8-2 as we enter the bottom of the third. Backyard to start the bottom of the third here at Mulcahy Stadium. Chinooks still trailing by a score of 8-2. Duke Kinnaman will lead things off. After him, it'll be Dalton Hurd. And back to the top of the order for Kyle Watson. First pitch to Kinnaman, misses low, ball 1. Alex Masato still on the hill for the Chinooks, the 1-0. Catches the inside corner, called strike 1. Kinnaman drew a walk his first time up. He eventually came around to score. The 1-1 popped back. Hill going over. But Hill run out of room as that'll get out of play. What into the count to Duke Kinnaman, the freshman from Stanford. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Kinnaman goes down on strikes. That's out number 1 here in the bottom of the third. Dalton Hurd up to the plate, 1 down, bottom of the third. First pitch to Hurd. In there, called strike 1. Hurd had a triple that scored 3 runs as the bases were loaded when he hit that. Here's the 0-1. Outside, ball 1. One on the count to Dalton Hurd, the 5'9 sophomore from Seattle University. And Hurd will call for time. 1-1 the count to the left fielder, Dalton Hurd. The 1-1. Inside, ball 2. Two and 1 the count to Hurd. Here's the 2-1. Chopped on the ground towards third. That'll go foul. Two balls, 2 strikes, the count to Hurd. One down, bottom of the third. Here's the 2-2. That one's fouled right back towards us. Count remains 2-2. Here's the 2-2. Down in the turf, ball 3. Full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes to Dalton Hurd. The 3-2. Down the ground towards third. That'll again go foul. Count still at 3-2 to Hurd. Here comes the 3-2. Down the ground towards third. Millard will field it. Guns that over to Whisker at first in time for out number 2. Kyle Watson up to the plate with 2 down here in the bottom of the third. Chinooks trailed the Pilots 8-2. Here's the first pitch to Watson. Just inside, ball 1. Watson 1 for 2 today with a bunt single and a fly out. For the 1-0, way outside. Two and 0 the count to Watson. The shortstop from Ole Miss. The 2-0. Just outside for ball 3. Three and 0 the count to Kyle Watson. Here's the 3-0. That one's fouled right back towards us. That's the closest one that was towards us. That one actually made my computer flash over here. That's fun. Count 3-1 to Watson. Here's a 3-1. Just missing for ball 4. So Watson will draw the walk with 2 down. Brings up Deshaun Kiersey. Kiersey up to the plate with 2 down. Watson the runner at first. First pitch to him will be in there for a called strike 1. Here's the 0-1. That one's fouled back. So Kiersey falling behind 0-2. Kiersey 2 for 2 in game number 2 with a couple of singles. One of them brought in a run. The 0-2. Swing and a miss. Kiersey goes down on strikes. That's a third strikeout today from Alex Masato. That'll do it for the bottom of the third. Chinooks still trailing by a score of 8-2 as we enter the fourth. First pitch to Ethan Whisker will miss for ball 1 as we enter the top of the fourth inning. Isaac Alvarez, then Ben Hill will be coming to the plate. Second pitch to Whisker, going to be fouled back, evens the count at 1-1. Here's the 1-1. Swing and a miss from Whisker. He'll fall behind 1-2. Whisker flew out to center his first time up in game 2. The 1-2 laced into left field. That'll be a base hit. So Whisker will be on at first. Nobody down, top of the fourth. Isaac Alvarez up to the plate. Nobody down. Top of the fourth inning. Chinooks down by a score of 8-2 to the Pilots. First pitch to Alvarez. Inside, ball 1. Alvarez grounded out his first time up, but that brought in the first Chinook run of the game. The 1-0. That one's fouled back. The 1-1 will miss outside, ball 2. 2-1 the count to Alvarez. Ethan Whisker, the runner at first. The 2-1. Catches the inside corner, called strike 2. Evens it back up 2-2. The 2-2 will miss up and away, ball 3. That'll make it a full count, 3-2 to Alvarez. With the 3-2. And they got him looking, called strike 3 on the inner half of the plate. So that's out number 1 in the top of the fourth. Brings up Ben Hill. Hill had an RBI single his first time up. First pitch to Hill. This is low for ball one. Hill, the catcher from Olivet Nazarene. The 1-0 is going to miss down and away, ball two. Two and 0 the count to Hill. Whisker still over there at first. Now they'll check on him. He'll get back safely. He only was about a step and a half off the bag. They'll check on him once again. Back in time. Whisker only has one stolen base this year. Has been caught one time as well. The 2-0. Inside ball three. Three and 0 the count to Ben Hill. Here's a 3-0. In there for a called strike one. Here's a 3-1. That's chopped on the ground towards short. Watson will field it. Only has time to go over to first for the out. So Whisker advances a second on the Ben Hill ground out. That brings up Zach Sanford to the plate. Sanford struck out his first time up. First pitch to him. Swing and a miss for strike one. Sanford, the outfielder, also a part-time pitcher from Glenville State College. Thinks about showing the bunt on the 0-1. He'll pull it back for ball one. Here's the 1-1. Breaking pitch will miss inside, ball two. Here's the 2-1. Down and away, ball three. Three and one the count to Zach Sanford. The 3-1. In there called strike two. Makes it a full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Zach Sanford. 2 down here in the top of the fourth. The 3-2. This is inside, also gets away from Walters behind the plate. That'll bring Mason Mallard up to the plate, 2 down, runners at the corners. Chinooks down by a score of 8-2. First pitch to Mallard. Down and in, ball one. Mallard 0 for 1 here in game 2. Was it by a pitch his last time up? The 1-0. Big swing and a miss, evens it back up 1-1. 1-1. Sanford on the move, but that one's hit foul by Mallard. So that'll make it a 1-2 count to Mason Mallard, the left fielder that'll be heading to Louisiana Tech in the fall. The 1-2. And that'll come in and hit Mallard once again. So second time he's been hit today. And that'll load up the bases for Chinook veteran Will Bass. Bass comes up to the plate, 2 down here in the top of the 4th. Whisker at third, Sanford at second, with Mallard at first. First pitch to Bass. Down and outside, ball 1. Actually, they call that a strike. Bass 0 for 2 today with a couple groundouts to first. That'll miss outside. It gets away from Walters, but not far enough for Whisker to advance from third. Here's the 1-1. Outside, ball 2. Two and 1 the count to Bass. Bases loaded with 2 down. The 2-1. Pops that one out towards left field. That one will be grabbed by Dalton Hurd for the final out. So that'll do it for the top of the 4th. Chinooks will leave 3 on. They still trail by a score of 8-2 as we head to the bottom of the 4th. And welcome back as we're starting the bottom of the 4th inning here in Anchorage, Alaska. Nate Eichhoff will lead things off this inning for the Pilots. He'll be first pitch swinging. Diving stop by Ethan Whisker. Flips it over to Masato in time for out number 1. What a flash of the leather from Ethan Whisker. That's out number 1 in the bottom of the 4th. That brings Joe Gillette up to the plate with a 1 down, bottom of the 4th. Chinooks trail by a score of 8-2. First pitch to Joe Gillette. Swing and a miss for strike 1. Gillette 0 for 2 in this one so far. Reached on an error and struck out. As the next one will be way outside for ball 1. Here's the 1-1. Hit on the ground towards third. Tim Millard will field it. Gets it over to Ethan Whisker at first in time for out number 2. That brings Tyler Walters up with 2 down. Alex Masato doing a good job in relief. Came in back in the first inning. Here's the first pitch to Walters. That one's popped straight up. And Tim Millard will call everybody off. Brings that one in for out number 3. So that'll do it for the 4th. Just a 5-pitch inning from Alex Masato. And after 4, here in Anchorage, Chinooks trail by a score of 8-2. In the backyard to start the top of the 5th between the Chinooks and the Pilots. Vansaw first up. He's going to ground that one back to the pitcher. He'll get it over to first in time for out number 1. And there is a new pitcher on the hill for the Pilots. Timothy Holdgraffer will come in relief of Christian Martinic. Holdgraffer, 17th appearance this summer. Just over 35 innings pitched. 27 strikeouts to 3 walks, a 2.29 ERA. First pitch to Tim Millard. Down and outside, ball 1. After Millard, we're going to see Aaron Shackelford come to the plate. The 1-0 is going to be grounded back, foul. One on the count to Tim Millard. The 1-1. In there, called strike 2. One into the count to Tim Millard with 1 down. The 1-2. Swing and a miss. Millard will go down on strikes. So that's out number 2 here in the top of the 5th. Aaron Shackelford up to the plate. 2 down, top of the 5th. First pitch to him was down and in, ball 1. The 1-0. Misses again for ball 2. Shaq 0 for 1 in this game. Also drew a walk. The 2-0. Foul tips that one back. And time will be called. As I think home plate umpire Marcus Dolan might have gotten hit by that foul ball. Two and 1 the count to Aaron Shackelford. 2 down, top of the 5th. The 2-1. Called strike 2 on the inside corner. Count even at 2 balls, 2 strikes. The 2-2. This is inside, and Shaq just barely gets out of the way of that. Full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes to Aaron Shackelford. Here's the 3-2. And on the ground towards second, Kinnaman will field it. It's that over to Gerstenmeyer in time for out number 3. So that'll do it for the top of the 5th. Chinooks go down in order. They continue to trail by a score of 8-2. And we're back here to start the bottom of the 5th inning between the Chinooks and the Pilots. First pitch to Jack Gerstenmeyer will miss for ball 1. New pitcher on the hill for the Chinooks. It'll be Nick Brooks. Here's the 1-0. Hit down the third base line. That'll go foul. Some numbers on Nick. This is his 9th appearance, 12 innings pitched, 1 strikeout, 7 walks, a 6.75 ERA. The 1-1. That's fouled right back. Went to the count to Gerstenmeyer. He's 0 for 1 in this one. Was hit by a pitch his first time up. The 1-2. Breaking pitch. Bass will field it. Gets it over to Whisker at first in time for out number 1. It brings Isaac Feldstein up to the plate. 1 down, bottom of the 5th. Chinooks down 8-2. First pitch to Feldstein. In there, called strike 1. The 0-1. Down and outside. 1-1 the count. Feldstein 1 for 2, and this one had a 2 RBI single back in the first. And that'll come in and plunk him. So he'll walk down to first after being hit by the pitch. That'll bring Duke Kinnaman up to the plate. 1 down, bottom of the 5th. First pitch to Kinnaman. Down and in, ball 1. Kinnaman 0 for 1 with a strikeout. 1 out in there, called strike 1. The 1-1. In there for a called strike 2. 1-2 the count to Duke Kinnaman, the second baseman. The 1-2. That one's fouled back, actually hit the bat twice. Count remains 1-2 to Kinnaman. The 1-2. Runner on the move. That one's hit back foul. One and two the count to Duke Kinnaman with 1 down, bottom of the 5th. First pitch to him, runner on the move once again. That's going to miss for ball 2. The throw in time. So Ben Hill will gun down Feldstein. That's out number 2. Two and two the count to Kinnaman. Here's the 2-2. Outside ball 3. Full count 3-2 to Kinnaman. 2 down, bottom of the 5th. The 3-2. Swing and a miss. Kinnaman goes down and strikes, but he briefly gets away from Hill. He'll throw to first to complete the strikeout. So that'll do it for the bottom of the 5th on the second strikeout this summer from Brooks. After 5, Chinooks trail by a score of 8-2. And we're back here to start the top of the 6th inning here between the Chinooks and the Pilots. First pitch to Ethan Whisker. Down and outside, ball 1. After Ethan Whisker to be Isaac Alvarez and Ben Hill coming to the plate. The 1-0. So we get a miss from Whisker. Evens back up 1-1. A couple defensive changes for the Pilots. Tanner Sanders is now out and left. He'll replace Dalton Hurd. RJ Cordero is at first, replacing Jack Gerstenmeyer. Another swing and a miss from Whisker. He'll fall behind 1-2. Whisker 1 for 2 today with a single his last time up. The 1-2. Down and outside, ball 2. The 2-2. Pops that one out towards right field. And Joe Gillette will make the grab for out number 1. That'll bring Isaac Alvarez up to plate 1 down top of the 6th. Reminder that since this is a doubleheader, games are only 7 innings as opposed to normally the 9-inning games. First pitch to Alvarez will miss for ball 1. The 1-0. Chopped on the ground towards third. That'll go foul. Isaac's 0 for 2 today with a ground out and a strikeout, but did bring in a run on that ground out. The 1-1. That's laced into right field. That'll drop in for a base hit. So Alvarez is on with a 1 down here in the top of the 6th. That'll bring up Ben Hill. Ben Hill up to the plate with 1 down. First pitch to him. In there, called strike 1. Hill 1 for 2 today with an RBI single back in the 2nd. The 0-1. That's hit back third base side. That'll go foul. 0-2 the count to catcher Ben Hill. Here's the 0-2. And that one's laced in towards left field. Sanders going back, unable to make the grab. Hill's going to round first, heads for second. They're going to hold up Isaac at third. So that's a double from Ben Hill, his first extra base hit of the summer. That'll put runners at second and third with one down. So that brings up Zach Sanford with one down, runners at second and third. First pitch to Zach Sanford. That's fouled back. Here's the 0-1. Just outside. 1-1 the count. Sanford drew a walk his last time up to the plate. The 1-1. In there for a called strike two on the outside half of the plate. Here's the 1-2. That's hit back up the middle, fielded by Duke Kinnaman. Goes over to first just in time to sit down Sanford. So that's just out number two. So that'll bring in a run. Chinooks now down by a score of 8-3. That brings up Mason Mallard to the plate. Shows bunt, but that's outside for ball one. And for Mason, this is more than likely his last at-bat as a Chinook, as he'll be playing for the Junior College USA national team. Next one's going to miss for ball two. Mason's been hit by a pitch his last two times up to the plate. The 2-0. Swing and a miss for strike one. Here's the 2-1. And that one's fouled back after it hit off of Mason. Count even at 2-2 to Mallard. The 2-2. That's fouled right back. Count remains 2-2. The 2-2. That's fouled back once again. Looks like that hit off of Walter's mask. Due to the count to Mason Mallard, Ben Hill, the runner at third with two down. Here's the 2-2. And that's laced into left field. That'll be a base hit. That'll bring in Ben Hill to score. Second run this inning for the Chinooks. They now trail by a score of 8-4 off the RBI single for Mason Mallard. So in what could be Mason's final at-bat with the Chinooks, gets an RBI single. And brings Will Bass up to the plate with two down. First pitch to Bass. Misses for ball one. Bass 0 for 3 here in game two. The 1-0. Hit on the ground, fielded by Eichhoff at third. Gets that over to first in time for out number 3. So that'll do it here for the top of the 6th, but not before the Chinooks put a couple runs on the board. They still trail, though, by a score of 8-4. Welcome back as we're starting the bottom of the 6th inning between the Chinooks and the Pilots. Chinooks trail by a score of 8-4. Tanner Sanders up to the plate. First pitch to him in there, called strike one. New pitcher on the hill for the Chinooks. It'll be Nate Lagos. Here's the 0-1. That's hit out towards left field, but Mason Mallard able to make quick work of that. He'll get over to that one for out number 1. Back to the top of the order for the Pilots as Kyle Watson's up to the plate. First pitch swinging, he'll be fouling that one back. Watson 1 for 2 today. Had a bunt hit single in the first. The 0-1. And they're called strike 2. Here's the 0-2. Breaking pitch will miss inside for ball 1. One into the count to Kyle Watson. Here's the 1-2. A little high, ball 2. 2-2 the count. The 2-2. Swing and a miss. That's barely foul tipped back by Watson. He'll go down on strikes. That's out number 2 here in the bottom of the 6th. Sean Kiersey up to the plate with 2 down, bottom of the 6th inning. First pitch to him. In there, called strike 1. Here's the 0-1. Outside, 1-1 the count to Kiersey. The 1-1. Outside ball 2. Here's the 2-1. That's hit out towards left field. Mallard going over, and he'll make the running grab for out number 3. So Lagos will produce a 1-2-3 inning here in the bottom of the 6th. Chinooks still down by a score of 8-4 as we head into the 7th. And welcome back to Mulcahy Stadium as we're about to start the top of the 7th. Final inning here in this doubleheader. Hunter Vansaw will lead things off. First pitch to him. In there, called strike 1. After Vansaw, it'll be Tim Millard and Aaron Shackelford coming to the plate. Here's the 0-1. Swing and a miss from Vansaw, falls behind 0-2. New pitcher on the hill for the Pilots. It'll be Zach Wolf coming in relief of Timothy Holdgraffer. This will be Wolf's 12th appearance of the summer. 13 2/3 innings pitched. And he'll set Vansaw down looking. And that'll be out number 1 here in the top of the 7th. Brings Tim Millard up to the plate, 1 down top of the 7th. Chinooks down 8-4. First pitch to Millard. Down and outside, ball 1. Some more numbers on Wolf. 8 strikeouts to 3 walks, a 3.95 ERA. The one I was going to miss, down and outside, ball 2. Here's the 2-0. Catches the inside corner for called strike 1. The 2-1. Again, it'll catch the inside corner. Called strike 2. Two and two the count to Millard. Here's the 2-2. He'll hit that one out towards deep left field. Sanders going back. Won't make the catch. He'll hit off of the wall. Definitely looks to be a little shaken up. Millard will be in there at second. So they'll check on Sanders out left, make sure he's okay. Took a hard run into the wall trying to make that grab. So it looks like Sanders will stay in the game out and left. That brings Aaron Shackelford up to the plate with one down. First pitch to him. In there called strike one. Tim Millard, the runner at second. Here's the 0-1. Big swing and a miss. Falls behind 0-2. Here's the 0-2. Outside ball one. 1-2 the count to Aaron Shackelford. He's the DH for this game. Played some short and some third in game one. The 1-2. Hit on the ground hard. First base side. Cordero will field it, flips it over to Wolf in time for out number 2. That does allow Millard to advance over to third. Brings up Ethan Whisker to the plate. 2 down, top of the 7th. Chinooks down by a score of 8-4. Here's the first one to Whisker. Fouls that one back and out of play. Whisker 1 for 2 in this one. Had a single back in the 4th. The 0-1. Fouls that one back out of play and around the same location. Oh, 0-2 the count to Whisker as he tries to keep this game going. Here's the 0-2. This is a tad low ball 1. 1-2 the count to Whisker. The 1-2. Fouls that one off, stays alive at 1-2. That one might have missed for ball 2, but Whisker didn't want to take any chances. The 1-2. Outside ball 2. Briefly gets away from Walters, but Millard unable to advance. 2-2 the count to Ethan Whisker. The 2-2. Got him looking called strike 3. And there is your ball game. Chinooks will fall by a score of 8-4 to the Pilots. And our player of the game, I know it's going to make this guy happy. It'll be Ben Hill. Went 2 for 3 on this one with a single and a double. Also threw out a runner stealing. So Ben Hill is going to be our player of the game. I'll have him up here in just a little bit. Again, Chinooks fall by a score of 8-4. Stay tuned for my post-game interview with Ben Hill coming up in just a little bit. And here we are with Ben Hill. The moment he's literally waited all summer for it, Ben. You go 2 for 3 in this one. How'd it feel to go 2 for 3?
I felt great. I was fetching for my extra base hit all summer, and I felt great. I saw the ball really well.
That's exactly what I said. I said first extra base hit all summer, and I was kind of debating on who my player of the game was going to be. He already had the one hit. I was like, okay, maybe if he gets another, then it'll be good enough for him. And then you not only poked through a single, hit one basically all the way to the wall. So that's a pretty good showing. You also got to throw out a runner, and you've been throwing out runners at a pretty high clip this year. I don't know the exact percentage, but where did you get so good at throwing out runners? Where did that come from?
The pitchers help out a lot. If they give me a short time to the plate, it helps out. Will Bass always picking balls at second base. That always helps out too.
So you're not going to give any credit to yourself. You're just going to give credit to the teammates.
That's right.
Let's give credit to yourself. Where did you learn, when did you start knowing that you had a good arm for throwing people out behind the plate?
It's all in the release. It's all in the transfer, and that's what I've always worked on in college ball and high school. That's always what I've striven to be good at.
And that's worked pretty well. You also he didn't play today, but your friend Nick Campy, not only teammate, friend, got to turn 20 yesterday. What's it been like having him along with you all summer long, being that you came from the same school?
It's great. Having him as a roommate. It's a familiar face, which is really nice up here after not seeing anybody for 2 whole months. It's kind of nice to see a familiar face.
And finally, the question everyone's waiting for: how does it feel to finally be player of the game?
It feels awesome. I love this. I appreciate it.
And there you go. That's my interview with Ben Hill. Ben, thanks for coming up.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And we have today off, but then we'll have a series of home games for the next couple of days. So stay tuned for that on the Chinook Radio Network.